So, welcome everybody to Tales of Iotura. This is a long-running tabletop series that I plan to go ahead and run on my channel, which actually the link is going to pop up right in the center of the screen. So feel free to go ahead and check out whenever we go live. I currently don't know when we're going to schedule like the regular day for this, as that hasn't quite been determined at the time of this recording. But don't worry, when that information pops up on the screen here, it's going to have the correct date, when to tune in. So I hope you guys are super excited. I'm not going to spoil any bit of the plot. For now, I think it's best that if you are tuning in to this recording, that you go ahead, kick back, relax, and enjoy the beginning of a great adventure. For you see, we start in a far-off kingdom. Well, more like a tribe. This tribe goes by the name of the Rising Bow Children. Deep within the heart of Dosnijan, in Iotura. The Rising Bow Children are a wandering group of tribesmen that are steeped within tradition. And more specifically, they've lived along the river for a great deal of time. And we actually find ourselves here at the main village of the Rising Bow Children, where the leader, Mordekai Urujan, calls out for probably his pride and joy, his greatest of his children, Mordekai Urujan. Mordekai, where are you?
Here, Father.
At this current point in time, Mordekai, you have just returned from your journey. And as was stated, the mark of Neresis had appeared on your neck. This mark holds great importance to the kingdom of Iotura, for you see, having the mark of Neresis means that you are marked for destiny, marked for greatness. To go to the main city at the heart of Iotura, the capital, and to foresee the egg. This egg is a dragon egg that is said to hold the next child of Neresis, which, when it hatches, will bring about an expansion of the borders of Iotura and will finally restore the now ravaged world that you live in. Your father smiles down at you as he approaches you, his arms stretched out wide, and he pulls you into a rather strong hug, holding it for a few moments. He then separates and holds you at about arm's distance, as he then says, I heard that you received the mark, but seeing it before me I've never felt more proud of you, son.
Thank you. I'm glad that I was given this honor.
He chuckles as he nods and says, well, I just knew that after having you, greatness was to be had. You see, I just felt it, you know? And given all your other siblings are out currently, I saw it fit to spend the day with you before you set out to the capital, of course.
Of course. It honors me that you would spend, this time with me before I have to leave. I will miss seeing you as I have missed you for the last several years.
He goes, although your time apart from us has been leaving a bit of a hole deep down inside, it's good to see that you're back and in good health. Look at you. Your training has certainly paid off, hasn't it?
It should. It's been grueling, but rewarding.
Some of the other tribes members doubted when you left, stating that you were leaving the ways of the tribe, but I told them no. You were simply growing stronger and waiting to come back. And now look at you. Ha 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 ha. He gives you a hearty clap on the shoulder before then turning to some of his attendants and motioning them over. Um, some of the women come over and he says, "Tell the tribe to prepare a feast. We can't let our heroes simply just leave without having a proper meal." They all nod as they quickly go ahead and begin to turn, heading off. And so, as they leave, he turns back to you and he says, "So, how was your journey here? It wasn't anything too rough, was it?"
I'm here in one piece, so it couldn't have been too rough.
Ah, yes. Well, given the followers of Shalane are from Toprevania, I never really took them as being able to take care of themselves. Given.
One one can hold a paintbrush just as well as a sword, father.
That is true. That is true, son. Well, at any rate, I take it that you wouldn't mind perhaps demonstrating some of the skills that they've taught you.
With I assume with some sort of battle, and not with the artistic talents that I have been able to
He says,
grow.
"Well, we do certainly have quite a lot of work to do for this feast, and so I thought you could go ahead and lead the hunt for this feast."
Lead it. It would honor me greatly to hunt
He chuckles and
for
goes,
our people.
"Of course it would. Why, I remember when you were a cub. You would always want to come out with us on these hunts. The poor attendants had to practically fight you to keep you to stay." "Well then, allow me to go ahead here." And you watch as your father walks across his hut, and he goes to a small perch where, resting atop a little cabinet of sorts, there appears to be a spear. He takes a spear off its holding place and he examines it, gently running his finger up and down the shaft of the spear. It's very old, the tip being made of stone. He then turns to you as he offers it to you and he says, "Since you're leading the hunt, you get the ceremonial spear. This has been passed down for generations. Go on. Take it."
Kai's going to reach out and reverently and gently take it from his father. Thank
As
you.
you
I will try to do my best to. I forgot my words.
He nods, and as you hold the spear, you can almost feel a connection to your ancestors and those who come before you. It's strange, but almost calming. As you clutch the spear, he then says, "Well, as I said, feel free to take any number of hunters with you and lead them. We just need one good catch for this feast."
Of course. I'll uh I'll go and choose the hunters.
And so, as you begin to go ahead and leave the hut and search for hunters, what exactly are you prioritizing when you're looking for, people to go in your group? Are you looking for someone who's good at tracking? Are you looking for someone who's capable of fighting? Someone who knows the lay of the land? Oh,
Well, I would hope that we all know the lay of the land, but there should definitely be someone who's good at tracking. Um, and so just because you want to be able to find stuff relatively quickly. Um, but otherwise, good fighters would be good to have around as well.
All right, so you're looking for kind of a mixed group. You're not going to focus on any
Yeah.
of those one skills. All right.
Nope.
Let me go ahead here and one moment. All right. So, in your current party, accompanying you on your little journey for food, you have what appears to be a young boy for your tracker who appears to have just recently gone on his first hunt. So, this would be his second ever hunt. Um, Although he seems fairly inexperienced, some of the elders speak on his behalf, saying that he has an almost unnatural connection to the land. Then, for another member of your party, you have a somewhat elder. He's not exactly that much older than you, but he is starting to show some signs of getting gray, fur and everything. But you found him as your fighter. He appears to have been in many combats before this, and so it's almost pretty much guaranteed that he's a veteran on the battlefield. And then finally, for your sort of guide or person who knows the land, you actually are able to get a hold of one of the top guides in the tribe who just so happened to be in the village. You got really lucky on that percentage. So, as you all are beginning to set out, your guide pulls out their map of Dosnijan. If you'd like to go ahead and refer to my stream, your guide goes ahead, and as he pulls out the map, let me go ahead and pull it up here on my stream here as well. There you go. It is currently hiding behind here. The map is not pulling up on my end. Hold on. Let me change it over to a window capture. Properties. Switch this over to Fire Alpaca. There we go. All right. Perfect. And so, can you see the map?
Yeah, it's kind of hiding behind windows, but yeah.
There we go. And so, let me keep sort of expanding this. And so, he pulls out the map, and he sort of gestures to the area around, and he says, "What would you like to try and bring home, sir?"
Well, we've got a lot of people, so we need something rather relatively large. Perhaps boar would be the best choice?
Ah, boar. Then we'd want to head along the northern ridge of the mountain and along the back end close to the territory of the Lost Wolf Horde. There are known boars in that area. He,
Then that should probably be our direction.
he then says, "If I may make a recommendation, sir, if we were to cross the borders of the Gentle Fist tribe, they do have buffalo in that area that we could try getting."
I assume that the gentle fists won't mind if we hunt a buffalo?
Everyone appears to nod in agreement. Um, Go ahead and roll me a one moment while I check here, just to see if you have it trained or not, because there might be penalties involved if you don't. Okay, then yeah, you do. So go ahead and roll me a knowledge local.
My knowledge in local isn't a trained skill.
Yeah, but you have a positive number in it, so by
Oh,
house
okay.
rule, yeah. So long as it's
Just
not
wanted to make
0
sure.
or penaltied, then I consider it trained. Let's see
Okay.
here. You.
Ha.
Well, doesn't matter. So, um, as you try to think and recall back to tribal relations between the Gentle Fist and the Rising Bow, you can't quite recall if you guys are on good terms. However, nothing in your immediate mind is bringing up any warfare that has happened between the tribes.
Well, a buffalo would feed more than enough people, and would be a good show of strength. I don't see any reason why we couldn't go across for a buffalo.
They all begin to nod in agreement, and with your newfound quarry having been decided, you all begin to set off. As you begin to set off, however, a small woman approaches you all, and she says, "Wait, wait! Do not forget your talismans!" You recognize this old woman. She is actually the village elder. She was there during your birth. She was pretty much there during everybody's birth. She is literally the oldest person in all of the Rising Bow children. And although her longevity seems somewhat supernatural in nature, she has always been there to guide and help whoever was ruling. And as she approaches, she says, "How narrow minded of you all to simply just walk off without taking a protection talisman. Aren't you all aware of what's happening on the southern borders?"
I it must have slipped my mind. Um, while I've only recently returned, I have heard, and you're correct. It wouldn't be wise to go without some sort of protection.
She goes, "Of course not, boy. Remember, if you are to be the one to guard the egg, you'll need to be a lot more, how would I say, quick to thinking. You need to take risk into account. You can't be so short sighted, especially now that the cries have started once again." She quickly fishes out of her purse a small wooden talisman that she has carved. It is actually a hummingbird. She hands you the talisman, and she almost gives you a knowing wink, as she then says, "Now, I bless this hunt. Be on your way." So, as
Thank you,
you
Elder.
as you thank the elder, she gives you a kind smile, and you all begin to leave. During your trip, some of your party members actually appear to be slightly nervous um, due to, well, the ghost cries having started again. You hear them murmuring quietly to themselves as you all begin to make your way to the next territory. Crossing through the border to get to the Gentle Fist tribe is a somewhat annoying task to say the least, given that there is a river. And so, as you all approach the river, I'd like to go ahead and ask that you roll me a swim check.
All right.
It is surprisingly difficult for you to get across the river. However, you are able to get through. Do note, though, that due to the difficulty, you are slightly tired from the endeavor.
I'm gonna blame the armor.
As you as you begin to pass through into the wildlands, your tracker steps forward and says, "Shall I go ahead and make the first move, sir?"
Yes. See if you can find any signs of buffalo nearby.
He nods. As he sort of runs ahead of the group, the elder simply shakes his head and says, "So young and so wet behind the ears. Do you think it's wise to let him go ahead alone?"
I would assume that if he runs, that he knows to be careful.
Hmm.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have survived his first hunt.
I suppose you speak fairly. And so, oh, holy shit. Okay. It's actually not long before this elder says those words that the young child comes back and he goes, "I tracked a whole herd. They're heading north. We'd actually be able to cut them off." The elder gives
Then
you a surprised look.
that's good. Thank you for finding that. Let's go ahead and try to cut off their uh their path and pick out a good buffalo.
And so, you all begin going ahead and making your way in that direction. He quickly begins to lead you through a series of tunnels and almost sort of natural land formations where the ground's just barely picked up enough to form caves that you can easily pass through. You see, the Gentle Fist tribe's area is somewhat rugged and mountainous despite it being very close to the lush forests of Iotura. As you guys begin going ahead, though, and making your way, you stop at the opening of a burrow where you had all managed to sort of sneak through to get a better vantage point. And it's there that you see one lone buffalo. It doesn't appear to be sickly or anything. It appears to be a rather strong one, but it also doesn't appear to be the alpha of this little herd that you've tracked down. It appears to be just simply grazing on its own, quite a ways away from the rest of the pack. And so let me go ahead here and
It seems Shilin is blessing us. This seems to be fortuitous.
so as you say this, some of the two of the tribe's members give you a rather odd look as the youngest one simply nods along. It begins to dawn on you that you were the only one in your tribe that willingly went along to experience this other religion. The tribe's very set in their ways, and although some mocked you on your first leaving, you returning with the Mark of Neuresis has made them somewhat question their beliefs, but not by much.
What is their main religion then? I guess I forgot to ask that.
So, the patron deity of the Rising Bow Children is actually Neuresis herself. The
Okay.
the Rising Bow Children see beauty within the creation that she brings about. And so they think that the land and everything is a gift from her. As
I wouldn't discount that either. So, while it wouldn't be my main, uh, so I guess it would be Shalin and Neresis that would be blessing us.
and so as this lone buffalo grazes, you all begin to slowly get into position. And so go ahead, and since you are sneaking up on this buffalo to hunt it, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and before I force any rolls, how'd you like to go ahead and approach this? As you can,
Well, we wouldn't want it to turn back towards the herd.
yes, and I'll go ahead and the herd is over in this direction.
Okay. Well, getting between it and the herd would be a priority.
All right. And so, are you yourself going to go out there, or are you going to have one of your three members sort of get out
I would.
there?
I
All right.
would because I wouldn't want them to risk themselves if it got spooked and tried to go that direction.
All right. So, in that case, can you go ahead and roll me a stealth? Oh!
I'm as stealthy as a bull in a china shop.
So, as you begin to go ahead and start sneaking your way out, it is quite obvious that, given your large armor that you did not discard, um, sneaking around is not exactly your forte. And as you begin sort of making your way out, the eldest one of your group sort of gives you a bizarre look, curious to see your stealthing abilities with such large armor. And to no one's surprise, very poor. As you get to about right here, halfway between your choke point, the buffalo looks towards you, sees you, and immediately shows signs of being spooked. Its hair standing on end as it lets a mighty snort out of its nostrils and begins slowly kicking its back foot. It is at this point in time that I'd like for you to go ahead and roll initiative. As you go ahead and begin to spring into action, your fellow tribe mates begin letting out hoots and hollers as they begin getting ready to charge into the fray. So let's see here. This is going to be... All right, perfect. And so let me go ahead and add you to the turn order. Turn. I cannot add turn orders for them because they are just dots. I don't have token set for them. It's whatever. Anyways, so from the looks of it, it's going to be... All right, so it's going to be the kid first, so the youngest in your hunting group, the buffalo, and then your other two tribes members, and then you. And so, the kid, as soon as he sees everything, he quickly pulls out his dagger, but instead of running immediately into the fray, he begins to enact the plan that you originally had, and he is going to run his full run distance and try and get in the way.
All right.
And so, cutting the buffalo off, when it gets to the buffalo sees the kid cutting him off, and it lets out a deep snort as it looks angrily between the two of you, wanting to get back to the rest of its pact. It's then going to go ahead and it's going to... Yeah, let's see here. It's going to go ahead. It's going to try and gore. Go ahead and heads or tails, Wrinkle.
Heads.
It's going to charge at the kid.
Well, shit.
So let me go ahead here and it lets out a mighty cry as it barrels forward towards the kid. And let me verify the kids. And it barely hits. So as the kid desperately tries to roll out of the way and get clear of this charging animal, it quickly bucks its head upwards and hits the back of the kid's legs. And let's go ahead here and roll for damage. Alright. The kid lets out a cry of pain as he tumbles to the floor, dust picking up as he is easily mowed over by this larger animal. The other two tribespeople, as they see this, they rush in to try and aid him. First off, the elder. Let's see here. Yeah, it would take his full turn to move up and occupy the square. So he rushes over to try and get the creature's attention, shouting for it. And as this is going on, the guide is actually going to attempt to move in, and he is going to roll a strength check to try and pick up the kid. So let's go ahead here and plus, oh, let's see, this strength. Oh, that's not a good modifier. Uh, he appears to be struggling to pick up the kid as the buffalo is getting ready to begin its next charge. And it's your turn. So what do you do as you see this scene sort of unfolding?
Um. Well, I need to get the buffalo's attention. Um, I am actually going to let's see how far am I? Well, it's probably gonna be longer than that because well, no, this square would work. It's not a direct. Wanted to charge it. Everybody's in the way. Um, ooh, that I could do. I'm going to run up to it and um I'm actually gonna go ahead and smite it.
All right. So go ahead and roll.
Oh wait, no, it's not even gonna work it on it. 'Cause they wouldn't have a they wouldn't have an alignment really. It's a fucking buffalo, Shane. Uh,
That is fair.
but I am still gonna hit it with my glaive. So
All right. Go ahead and roll that attack as you run up. Oh, the nat one.
oh oh
So
distracted.
and so as you run up, you sort of try to shield the child as he's getting picked up by the other tribe member, and you haphazardly swing your arm back to try and get the buffalo away and off. But it appears that all that does is simply give the buffalo an opportunity to jab its horn quickly at you, provoking an attack of opportunity. It's going to go ahead and attempt to get you with its horns. Oh, shit. All right. So it did crit, so it's going to try and roll to confirm. Uh, what is your AC?
uh, it's apparently 16. That's not.
Are you sure it's 16?
That's what it should be 17. I thought. I'm checking. Um,
Let's see. Configuration. It would be under additional. Let's see. So 6. And then your dexterity modifier.
which is 0. No, it's 1.
All right.
No.
Oh,
Did it?
I think it's factoring in your check penalty with your armor, unless you're already carrying a good size load for your character. There might be penalties there that it's factoring in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's
Yeah.
factoring in weight.
Yeah, and then you also have the fatigue penalty from the river crossing.
Yep. Yep.
All
It's
right.
that penalty.
Yep,
That's what's doing it. Yep.
that's
Yep.
stacking. And
It's the
so,
fatigue penalty.
let me go ahead here and so the damage 3 damage.
All right.
So as you sort of swing your hand back towards the creature, you feel your wrist get jammed in as it aggressively pokes at you. The turns begin to loop back around, and the child, seeing you getting injured and seeing that he's kind of preventing everybody, he tries to get up, having been knocked prone after being hit. This does provoke an attack of opportunity, but the buffalo's focused on you right now since you swung at it most recently, so it's not going to take advantage. So the kid, as he quickly stands up, is then going to use the rest of his action to move and get out of the way. Next up, the buffalo. The buffalo continues its angry gaze as it then attempts to sort of drive you into the dirt, you know, angling its horns at you and thrashing its head, attempting to gore you again. Let me go ahead here and... Alright. And you said, what was your AC again?
16 right now.
Then it does hit.
Yep.
Let me go ahead here and roll. Oh, God. 7 damage. Yikes. What is your HP sitting at right now?
3.
This time around, the buffalo is able to drive you into the dirt and thrashes its horns. Dirt picks up. You're yelling in pain due to being, having a horn essentially go straight into your midsection. After it thrashes you around in the dirt, the elder, he actually goes ahead and he says, "No hunch is worth a life, especially one of an egg tender. I'll hold it off. All of you, get out of here." And so, he is going to go ahead and he is actually going to wildly slash at the buffalo to try and get its attention. Let me go ahead here and roll his attack. Let's see here. Was it to hit? All right. He is barely able to hit it, and his sword is going to do... He actually gashes into the buffalo, and the buffalo lets out a loud cry as it then immediately whips its head around, turning away from you towards him. It lets out another angry snort as the other buffalo in the area begin to turn in a panic and stampede away from you all. As this is going on, the other elder rushes over to you now, and he is going to try and help you up. How much do you weigh?
200 pounds plus
Jesus.
armor. So yeah, he's a big guy.
All right, so let's go ahead here. He's gonna try and help you up with the strength. It is not very successful. If anything, it just feels like someone's tugging on your armor trying to get you to stand up. And matter of fact, it is your turn.
Well, I refuse to leave anybody behind, and I go for a power attack.
Oh shit.
Yep. This is gonna be painful. I'm gonna put the force of standing behind it as well, like getting up and going forward.
All right.
And yeah.
So
that's not correct.
Is it not? Let's see here. Your strength. It's rolling your strength.
The attack is correct. I'm looking at the damage. Sorry, the attack looks to be correct. I don't think the damage is. It's more of me going, "Oh shit, that's not right."
Okay. And so you stand up and you attempt to swing on the creature, and you actually miss. It whiffs completely in the air, sailing just beside the flank of the creature as it's taking aggressive steps towards the other elder. The boy, as he was standing up and sort of running away, he looks back over his shoulder and he sees the elder about to get run down, and he sees you bleeding and swinging at it, and he begins to panic. He's unsure what to do. He then seems to get some form of an idea, and he quickly begins to run back in this direction, taking his full move action to get over there. The buffalo, meanwhile, is going to continue its assault on the three of you. The herd, having essentially abandoned it, it is now seeing itself in a life or death fight to try and get away. It's going to go ahead and try to gore the older gentleman. The older gentleman is barely able to tuck and roll out of the way as the beast shifts forward, trying to smack him with its horns. He, as he sort of tucks and rolls, he then says, "The two of you need to follow the boy's example and get out of here. You're injured. We can't have an egg tender die. Especially not to such a pathetic way of losing." He's then going to try and stab at the buffalo as he's delivering this line. Let me see here. And... oh, shit. Due to his attention being focused on you and trying to get you guys away, he stumbles forward with the thrust a little too close and gets within the wheelhouse of the buffalo. The buffalo proceeds to whip its head around and try to stab into him. Ooh, that's gonna hit. Oh my god. This buffalo is fucking getting crunked. The horn grazes his midsection, ripping off a chunk of fur and flesh as he goes, "Ah!" He clutches his midsection as he holds the sword and stumbles back. The other member who is attempting to help you up, he leans into your ear and he says, "We have to leave. You're injured. We can't risk losing you. You're too important to Iotura."
He Kai will hesitate, but will agree. Yeah, they do need to run, even though he doesn't really want to leave anybody behind.
The the other begins to head off, running in the direction. And on your turn, what do you do? As it appears, the other tribe member has taken it upon himself to fight to the bitter end with this buffalo so that you could get away.
I'm going to turn to him and say, if you do find a chance to run, take it. And then may Naresis be with you. And then I will withdraw and run off.
And so, you also begin to flee. Let me go ahead here, and one moment. As you withdraw, you hear the loud shouting of the man as he charges into battle. Let me go ahead here, and one moment. There we go. As you're walking, or as you guys are essentially beginning to flee, it begins to rain. And so, go ahead here and I need to go ahead and roll something off to the side. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, the other village person, after you kind of slip away and slip back into the borders of familiar territory in the Rising Bow Children area, he lets out an exasperated sigh as the other child he seems to have completely disappeared. Like he ran essentially, which is definitely an issue you're going to have to address when you get back to the tribe. But the other tribesman lowers his head in shame as he says, I can't believe we lost someone during a hunt.
It is it is disappointing, yeah.
He looks to you and he says, you bear the mark. You're gifted. You're supposed to be a paragon of, well, everything. How could a simple buffalo give you that much trouble?
It is it was maybe it was just the god saying that I need uh more training, more attention, more skill.
Well, by Neresis, you should have already had this skill. Neresis chose you. There had to have been a
I
bigger
am young yet.
reason.
Perhaps I there are trials that I still have yet to for races. Perhaps the mark was just for races to show me the path that I need to take next.
He stares at you lost, unsure of how to respond, before then sadly turning in the direction of your village, and he says, given the rain and given that we already scared off the herd, there's no way we can go and hunt the boar that are over on the opposite side of the mountain range. By the time we get there, it'll be too late. And given that we've already spooked off the buffalo, this will be the first
Yeah,
hunt in a long time that will be empty handed.
as shameful as it is, that we I guess it is time to head back since there's it is unlikely we'll find any other game.
He he simply goes quiet, going ahead and pulling up the scarf that he was wearing to cover his mouth as he then begins walking along the trail heading back to the tribe. It is very quiet and somber walk back. Not a single word is uttered between the two of you as you clutch your wounds. You return to the tribe, and people appear to be getting ready. There appears to have been a almost massive tent-like structure pitched up around the tribe to sort of keep the rain out. Torches are being lit, and people are in a generally good mood. And you see at the edge of town waiting for you as you're walking up the village elder and your father. They both have warm smiles on their face, ready to receive you. But as you cross the horizon, two party members down, and with a distinct lack of, well, any prizes, you can see them both exchange a confused look.
I'll pull out the hummingbird and offer it back to the elder. It seems I was not worthy of any protection.
She blinks confused as she looks up to your father, who then he appears bewildered, at a loss for words. He then, after a tense moment of silence, then says, Kai, you. Where are your other group members? Surely they didn't sacrifice themselves, right?
With a head bowed in shame, he will say one ran and the other did.
The silence is heavy, and other village people are beginning to notice sort of the awkward scene as you stand there before your father and the elder. And you see that your party member, after these words are exchanged, he simply just shakes his head and scoffs as he then turns and walks back past the chief, not making eye contact as he disappears into a nearby tent, presumably his own, to seclude himself. And as the rain begins to fall, your father, how do I put this? He slowly turns away from you as he appears to be musing to himself, as the village elder then says, Well, surely you at least fell the beast that took a life. Your wounds are severe. I'm confident that you at least did that, correct?
Kai will take the stone spear and offer it, and lay it down at his father's feet. No, no, I did not.
The village elder gasps, and everyone else in the village stops what they're doing as you see your father visibly tense up. As this sort of hangs in the air, your father is the first to break the silence, saying, Mordekai, I think it's best that you patch yourself up and begin your journey as soon as possible.
Yes, I think that may be best. Kai will stand and head off towards uh, a tent where he can quickly bandage himself up and gather supplies.
So, during all this, in your quiet seclusion, you hear a stirring outside. Do you go and investigate?
Yes.
So, you walk outside and you can't believe your eyes. You see, with one arm draped over his shoulder and the dead buffalo at his feet, the elder and the kid who ran away are both standing there, bloodied, battered, and everyone in the village is in sheer disbelief as the elder pulls out his sword, raises it above his head, and lets out a mighty war cry. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't expecting this dude to live. I rolled like a 95 on the percentile dice.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm like, oh shit, guy's a beast.
And so, as everyone's sort of crowding around, you see your father staring at him just in shock. Do you approach?
Uh, no, it's his. He obviously brought the victory home. I'm going to grab my backpack and quietly slip away.
And so, as you begin slipping away, you see that your people are back on with the festivities, trying to set up for the night as they begin to feast on the recent cook. And so, we go ahead and we close the session with you beginning your journey and making your way to the capital. Your village behind your back, and an almost curious feeling inside as you're still unsure of why Neresis chose you. That's the end of the solo session, boys. And I want to go ahead. I want to thank so much for the viewers who stuck around through all this and watched. Greatly appreciate it. Please feel free to go ahead, follow me over here on Twitch, or subscribe to me here on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Like I said, there is another reminder for the date right here. I don't know it currently, but that infographic is going to have it right there. And without further ado, y'all have a nice one. Bye!